I'm going to start off with basically when you burst on the scene at Wolves. Just talk to me about what that was like. Obviously, being so young, going into a team where there was a lot of kind of experience around, and it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was kind of like a transitional period after Glenn Hoddle as well when you broke in as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just pure timing because Glenn had, or whether it was Glenn or even Dave Jones before that, kind of built a team with really good, experienced players, like Paul Ince, for example, and Jody Craddock. I think we just had too many of them. They were all coming to the end of their career.
Yeah.
And like every manager would say, you need a balance. You need a balance of experience and young, energetic kids, for example. And I fit into that perfectly, really. Speak about this quite a bit. Timing's important in football, where if they would have had 3 really good right backs, would I have made the team at that time? I'm not sure, but at that time they were short on right backs, and then there was a couple of injuries, and then I got myself in. So
was it tough coming through with all those experienced characters around, especially in that era where I can imagine you were maybe given a tough time in training? Or, I mean, what was that like? Was there anyone that kind of got on you or spurred you on to get better?
Oh, with that shadow, it was hard because they were hard. They were hard on me, but that was the best learning experience I've ever had in football, without any shadow of a doubt. Just the standard that was demanded of me to be anywhere near these caliber of players that I was playing with. I think that's kind of going a little bit in football at the moment, and it frustrates me because I think that for me that was so important, and the harder side of football, because you can train all week, like you can practice and be told, or you can read in the book what you need to do, but actually physically being there and Paul Ince telling you to do that, like you kind of listen to that gentleman. And my keeper was Matty Murray, so from behind you, 6 foot probably wider, and you can imagine that guy demanding me to be in certain places behind me. Yeah, it was tough, brilliant. It was, if I could go back to them times now, I'd love to.
What was Mick McCarthy like? What was your relationship with him?
Oh, he's awesome. He was told you exactly how it was. So if I was good, I got told. If I was bad, I got told, and that was brilliant. He was really straight with me. Obviously, gave me the good run of games. I think I played 25 or 25 on the bounce or something like that, and he was completely honest with me. Well, he actually released me, but he told me, he said, Mark, like we moved to the got promoted to the Premiership at that point, and he basically said, Mark, I don't think you're ready to be playing week in, week out in the Premiership. Now I could keep you here on a like a retainer contract and just kind of have you train with us and go out on loan maybe, but he didn't think that would help my development, and I didn't think it would, because I'd been training at Wolves since I was 12 or 13 at that point.
Can I just ask you about your England under-19 career as well? I think you've played with the likes of Ryan Bertrand, Adam Lallana.
I didn't, never ever in a million years expected that letter through my door for a start. See, like Ryan Bertrand you mentioned there, so he was playing it. He was playing a year above himself, so he's a year below me.
Right.
And I was just, he's just a good left back. Fair play to him. But I didn't even realise A, he was playing a year above, and then B, for him to go on and play. I don't know. He must have played 400 or 500 games maybe 400 games in the Premiership at the moment.
Champions League as well, hasn't he? I think.
Incredible. I actually roomed with Adam Lallana. I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but we had a conversation. He was kind of nervous about which way his career was going to go, because he didn't really play when he came away. He was kind of brought away because he obviously had unbelievable talent. We roomed together, and he was like, I don't think I'm playing tomorrow. And if I don't play and I go back to Southampton and I don't play there, then I don't know what I'm going to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, that nervous. I'm thinking, looking back now, are you crazy, mate?
Yeah. You make a good point, because I was looking at a lot of those players and not even playing now that you would have played with at that time.
Fabrice Romano was our captain. Obviously, he was one hell of a player. Lee Catamar was another one. He's retired earlier than I expected. I thought he'd be playing still when he was 40, because he was such a good pro. Okay,
I'm just going to move on to your days at Peterborough. Looking at the card, pace has gone up since your Wolves days, so you're getting quicker.
Not sure about that.
Really?
I think I was rapid the younger, and then I'd say I drop a point a year. I think that's what I'd say.
I mean, yeah, Peterborough just seems like it was an absolute roller coaster.
Yeah, we used to call it. It was like living in a soap. It was like living in Coronation Street because you never knew what was going to come next. So much fun though. Honestly, it was. If any players listening to this and kind of snubbing their nose at Peterborough, like, you need to get that out of your head. It was one of the best experiences in my career. The time that I was there, the caliber of players that come in and you get to play with. None of them stay. They come and then they get off. But that's their model, and I think it's brilliant. I don't think there's many other teams that do it just like the Barry Fry and the chairman there. I don't think anyone has done it to the extent that they can.
What are they doing that no one else is doing? Just giving people chances.
Yeah, people that get written off, they give them the chance. They recognise what people can do, and they're not interested in what they can't do, and then they use the positive bit. So for my case, I might play with a manager and they might be like, well, he's not very technically good, but then they wouldn't have worried that I wasn't technically the greatest. What they work on is that physically I was probably one of the strongest in the league, and I can get up and down. There's players that managers wouldn't go near because they'd have to deal with the other bits off the pitch. So I think we had Paul Taylor, who come straight out of prison. We had Lee Tomlin, who was what a character he is. I don't know what Lee changes like the wind, the lad. Any
of those players stick out? I mean, I've a couple of names that I noticed here: Dwight Gale, British Sombalonga.
How much time have you got? Yeah, mate. Honestly, we had both the Maccas, Aaron McLean and Craig McCall-Smith, Dwight Gale, British Sombalonga, Boydie, Lee Tomlin, Grant McCann. When they joined the club, would you say they were attractive players? Probably not. But after they leave the club, everyone knows their name.
Darren Ferguson, what was he like as a gaffer? Was there any similarities to Sir Alex? I mean, was he trying to take any tips from his old man?
Yeah, of course. He's from what I've read, I was never privileged enough to get an address. But what I've read, I do believe his son is really studied him. Of course he would. Of course he would. If you wanted to be a coach and your dad happened to be the greatest that ever lived, I'm pretty sure you're trying to take some tips from him.
Yeah.
Certainly was some hair dryers without a shadow of a doubt. It was definitely like a presence about him where people he didn't have to demand respect. There was just respect. There's just the aura. Mick McCarthy had it. You know when they walk through the door, like, it's work time.
Right, let's move on to Bristol City.
What picture? You know when football is, and it's not always about the money.
Yeah.
But I think Bristol were offering 5 times the amount of what was at Peterborough, and it was fair. I think it's probably about an hour and a half close to. I'm from Worcester, so it was a 2 and a bit hour to Peterborough, and only an hour down the road from my family in Worcester. So I've been there 4 years now as well, and that was thing that was grating on me a little bit, because if we talk about the goal scorers, for example, at Peterborough, they used to come in, I used to assist them, and they used to get their highest goal scoring record, and then they get themselves a move to the Prem, like Gailey. So it was kind of after being there for 4 years, it was kind of my opportunity then and I had all the success there. I ended up at Bristol City, and it's a good job I did, because it was the most impressive year that I'd ever played in football, really. From
just looking at it, it looked like an unbelievable set of players. I mean, Luke Ayling, Bobby Reid, Luke Freeman, Joe Bryan. I mean,
the players that you've mentioned there, from the ones that you've done your research, are the ones that have now kicked on and now are playing at a very, very high level. But at the time, like when I joined, like Bobby, for example, I think Bobby had just kind of broke into the first team. Like, he's that young. Steve Cottrell built a team. He didn't go out and buy the best names in football to win the league. I think it just clicked that year again with time, and the characters that we got together. We were all best mates, and we're all still best mates now. I don't think there's many that played in the core bit of the squad that we don't keep in touch with at the moment now.
What about your day out at Wembley? That must have been a massive moment for you? Goal and a win.
That was the second time I'd won it. I won it at Peterborough 2 years before, I think it was. So it was my second day out. So I was a bit more relaxed. How it turned out, I definitely didn't know. I don't know how to expect that. I didn't know how to expect a man of the match performance and a goal to go with it. That was kind of way out of the blue.
Just before I move on, I always like to just ask about kind of players that you played with that stick out now, and one would be Tammy Abraham. What did you think of him, and do you see him going on to big things, and did you see him getting into the Chelsea side?
Yeah, I did. If I could scuff a cross into the box, anywhere near the 6-yard box, anywhere near him, and he was scoring a goal, he was in the right place at the right time. And he had every attribute that you would need for a centre forward. He was very young when he came to us, and he scored, 30-odd goals. So I could definitely see that he was going to get a chance at Chelsea. Now, do I think he's going to be England's first choice centre forward and Chelsea's first choice centre forward? Because obviously then you're pretty much one of the best players in the world, let alone the country at that point.
Yeah.
Did I think he's going to get to there? I think he's got every chance because he's so young. He loves football as well, like absolutely loves it. Like we could just be waiting for a meeting and he'd have a football with him.
Yeah, just tell me a bit about how you ended up at Bristol Rovers and how's your time been there until now? Yeah,
just had to get out of leave Bolton as quick as I could. For those reasons, nothing to do with the club. The club was superb, but just need to kick on in my career again. We want to retire here. We're in Swansea now, and Bristol's just where I went and where I met my wife and all that sort of stuff. We love Bristol. When I lived in there for the 3 years I was at City, it was like this is wonderful. So when Bristol Rovers became an option, then that was something serious for us to consider, and that's where that's where we've ended up.
One thing I do really want to ask you about is what were your thoughts when Joey Barton came in? How long did you know about that? What's he like on the training ground? Like, how have your interactions with him been? That sort of stuff.
It turns out that I know quite a few of his ex teammates, and they've all said the same thing. He's absolute top bloke, really like a football man, and is exactly what we need at this moment in time to get us back up the table. From the second he's walked from the door, from his first meeting or first chat with us, it was just complete and utter positivity and told us exactly what we were going to be doing in terms of moving back up the table and what we needed to do that, and just very motivational.
Just a final one. So how are you feeling personally about your game? What's the future got in store for you? Interesting
enough, I think the gaffer's come in and we've had a chat, and he says obviously my experience is playing full back or wing back, which is going up and down, but he said he fancies me at centre back. So I've been kind of training there. Played a under 23s game yesterday in that position and quite enjoyed it. So to learn from the gaffer now, has only just finished beforehand, and I'm pretty sure he knows the role of any position. So I can and Hilly's with him, so there's plenty of experience to learn from there. What I need to be doing in that position. So that's my next challenge.